Welcome to the podcast, Black Token. In this space for conversation and reflection, we explore current global events, together events in the crypto world, finances, scientific, social, environmental, political, economic, and statistical topics, as well as current events in the world. Each episode discusses and breaks down key events that help us better understand the reality around us. You can support this project via PayPal or through cryptocurrencies. You can find the links and addresses in the description. Find US on your favorite platform: Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, or YouTube. We are on almost every platform. Share our podcast with your friends.
It is really great to be here to unpack all of this with you today.
It really is because, well, imagine sitting in a highly classified military briefing. You know, you're learning the exact date of foreign leaders going to be captured in this covert operation.
Right.
And then instead of just prepping your gear, you log on to a decentralized crypto casino and you just place a $33,000 bet on the success of your own mission.
Which is just wild to even think about.
It is. And you walk away with over $400,000 in profit. So today, for our deep dive, we are looking at a world where military operations, artificial intelligence, and decentralized finance they're no longer operating in separate lanes.
No, they've completely violently collided.
Exactly. We're untangling this massive web of intelligence for you today. We're starting with literal physical naval blockade in the Middle East, and then tracing how that is actively suppressing the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, and unpacking that bizarre new reality of soldiers day trading global conflicts. It's a profound shift in how we process global events.
Definitely.
We are looking at this landscape where, a physical restriction of oil thousands of miles away instantly alters the algorithmic trading behavior of digital assets.
Right.
And where the fog of war itself is basically being monetized in real time.
Absolutely. But before we really dive into the mechanics of this, I do need to make a crucial disclaimer to you, the listener.
Very important, yeah.
The intelligence and the events we are analyzing today contain some highly charged, politically sensitive material. And this involves the United States, Iran, Israel, and other nations engaged in active conflicts. So we are absolutely neutral here. We take no sides whatsoever, and we do not endorse the actions, policies, or viewpoints of any government, military, or political entity.
Right. Our mission is strictly to report the facts and the perspectives contained in our sources.
Exactly. Just helping you understand the complex realities that are currently shaping the board.
And, well, the board is incredibly volatile right now.
It really is.
Let's start with the physical reality on the ground, because everything else, like the inflation, the crypto markets, the AI, it all stems from this initial friction.
Right. The flashpoint here is the Strait of Hormuz. Based on the intelligence we have, the United States has enacted a total naval blockade on Iranian ports.
A total blockade?
Yeah, and the scale of this is just staggering. The United States has deployed over 10,000 military personnel, 17 warships, and 100 aircraft are actively patrolling this area. It's basically a massive iron wall.
Which is a huge mobilization.
And just recently, United States forces actually intercepted and boarded this sanctioned vessel, the Majestic X.
Oh, right, the oil tanker.
Yeah, it was caught carrying Iranian oil out in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
In response to all this, Iranian leadership has publicly stated that reopening the strait is, quote, impossible.
Impossible, because of what they're calling blatant violations, right?
Exactly. They cited, quote, blatant violations of the ceasefire by the United States and Israel.
Well, when you look at the geography of the Strait of Hormuz, you kind of realize it is essentially the jugular vein of the global energy market.
The jugular vein, yeah.
I mean, historically, it handles roughly 20% of the world's crude oil supply.
20%? That's a fifth of the whole planet's oil.
Exactly. So choking off a fifth of the global energy supply literally overnight, it changes the math for everything. Oil prices have naturally surged well past $100 a barrel. But, the most concerning detail in the intelligence isn't just the price spike itself.
What is it then?
It's the duration. Internal estimates from the Pentagon suggest that just clearing the Iranian Sioux mines from the strait, that alone could take up to 6 months.
Wait, 6 months? Why on earth does it take half a year just to clear a waterway?
Because naval mine clearing isn't like, sweeping a floor.
Right.
You're dealing with vast expanses of open water, super unpredictable ocean currents, and really sophisticated acoustic and magnetic triggers on these mines.
Those are smart mines.
Very. Every single square mile has to be meticulously scanned by specialized submersibles before any heavy commercial tankers can safely pass through.
Wow.
So this isn't just some temporary geopolitical blip. The global economy is facing a sustained multi-month headwind of really expensive energy.
But, $100 a barrel, that's a Wall Street number.
Sure.
It can feel very abstract if you're just like commuting to work or buying groceries.
Yeah. Right, it feels far away.
Yeah, so how does this massive military standoff actually bleed into the daily lives of regular people who are completely disconnected from the Middle East? Like, how does this geopolitical tourniquet actually affect them?
Well, just look at the cascading supply chain effects happening right now in South America, for example.
Okay.
In Bolivia, the sources say there are crippling diesel shortages.
Just from this.
Yeah. Commercial truckers are waiting hours, sometimes even days, in these massive lines at gas stations just trying to secure fuel.
Days? That's insane.
The state there simply doesn't have the foreign currency reserves to absorb a massive, unexpected spike in import costs.
Which I imagine basically paralyzes their entire domestic logistics network.
Exactly.
Like if the trucks can't move, the food doesn't move.
And it goes even deeper than that. The intelligence highlights the situation in Peru with artisanal fishermen.
Okay, what's happening in Peru?
Well, these are people operating on incredibly thin margins anyway.
Right.
And because of the blockade on the total opposite side of the planet, their local fuel costs have skyrocketed by 40%.
40%, just to run their boats.
Just to leave the port to do their jobs. They have to spend significantly more capital up front, which deeply threatens their livelihood.
Oh, wow.
And then when they finally bring the catch back, they have to pass those costs on to the consumer.
Naturally.
Suddenly, the price of basic food items, like the fish used for traditional ceviche, becomes a luxury for an average household in Lima.
Right, that makes so much sense.
That is the actual physical mechanism of global inflation.
And, this friction in the physical world doesn't just stop at the gas station or the fish market either.
No, not at all.
Because when energy gets choked off, inflation fears spike everywhere. And when inflation fears spike, global capital violently shifts its behavior.
It absolutely does.
Which brings us to the bizarre inverse dance we are seeing right now between fiat currency and digital assets.
Yeah, the macroeconomic risk of this blockade basically has investors terrified.
Terrified of inflation.
Exactly. When large institutions get scared, they seek safety and liquidity, which traditionally means pouring capital back into fiat currency.
Right, cash is king.
Exactly. Consequently, the United States dollar index, which is often referred to as the DXY, has rebounded sharply.
And just for anyone who doesn't track it daily, the DXY basically just measures the strength of the United States dollar against a basket of other major foreign currencies.
Correct.
So when it goes up, the dollar is flexing its muscle globally.
Yeah, and what is really capturing everyone's attention is how Bitcoin is reacting to this specific dollar surge.
Right. The intelligence notes that the 30-day correlation between Bitcoin and the United States dollar has hit negative 0.90.
Which is massive.
That is the most profound negative correlation we've seen in nearly 4 years.
Meaning they're moving in almost perfect opposition.
Right.
When the DXY climbs, Bitcoin drops. Currently, about 81% of short-term Bitcoin price movements are directly tied to changes in the dollar index. But wait, why such an extreme lockstep, though?
Yeah.
I mean, if inflation is rising because of this oil blockade, shouldn't Bitcoin be thriving as an inflation hedge? Like, why is it moving in perfect opposition to the dollar right now?
It really comes down to how these assets are fundamentally priced and perceived by institutional money.
Okay.
Bitcoin is priced in dollars. So purely mathematically, a stronger dollar natively suppresses the price of a dollar-denominated asset.
Oh, I see.
But psychologically, during a major geopolitical crisis, traditional funds still view Bitcoin as a risk-on asset.
Right, it's still risky to them.
Exactly. When a war threatens the global supply chain, massive fund managers don't want risk. They want the absolute guaranteed liquidity of the world's reserve currency.
Which perfectly explains the ceiling we're seeing in the crypto market right now.
Yep.
The intelligence points out that the Bitcoin rally has completely stalled out below $79,000.
Completely stalled. But here is the paradox. This stall is happening despite the fact that there are continuous, sustained capital inflows into United States spot ETFs.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
Traditional Wall Street money is still pouring into these exchange-traded funds, which normally, provides massive stability and upward pressure to an asset.
Right.
Yet, the price just refuses to break out.
Because the broader macroeconomic gravity is just pulling it down.
Yeah.
Major investors are basically adopting a very cautious wait-and-see approach. In fact, some prominent fund managers are suggesting we might not see a significant crypto recovery until maybe October or November.
Wow. And, if you're listening to this and wondering why major investors are suddenly willing to just sit on their hands for months during a massive global conflict, it's not just about the Middle East.
No, it's domestic too.
It is about domestic politics.
Mm-hmm.
The intelligence highlights a really crucial variable. The United States president's approval rating has plummeted to 33%.
33%.
Yeah. Largely driven by public dissatisfaction with the handling of this exact war.
And markets absolutely hate a vacuum.
They really do.
When the leader of the nation that controls the world's reserve currency looks politically vulnerable during a major conflict, it just injects massive uncertainty into the entire system.
Capital freezes.
Exactly. Institutions hit pause on their aggressive growth strategies until they know who will actually be calling the shots.
Right. They need to know what the regulatory and military environment will look like in the near future.
Spot on.
Before we move on, if you are finding this deep dive valuable, remember you are listening to Black Token. You can support this project via PayPal or through cryptocurrencies to help us keep bringing you these insights. Links are in the description.
Yes, please do check those out.
So we've mapped out the physical blockade and how the financial markets are reacting to it.
Right.
But we need to look at the shadow war, like how this conflict is actually being managed behind closed doors.
Because the posture of leadership in both the United States and Iran is undergoing this drastic, almost surreal transformation right now.
Exactly. The internal disputes within the United States military apparatus are just spilling out into the open.
Yeah, the intelligence reports that the United States Navy Secretary was actually just removed from his position, quote, with immediate effect.
Wow.
And this was amidst really intense disagreements over the handling of the blockade.
And his replacement tells you basically everything you need to know about where the military strategy is heading.
Oh, absolutely.
The new Navy Secretary is a veteran who famously went on record stating that the military needs, quote, alpha males and alpha females who will tear out their own guts, eat them, and ask for more.
I mean,
That is not the language of diplomacy or even strategic deterrence.
no, that is the language of total kinetic warfare.
Kinetic meaning like raw, physical, destructive military action.
Exactly. It signals a major shift from a defensive posture to a highly aggressive one. And this highly aggressive United States posture is meeting an Iranian leadership structure that has been, frankly, fundamentally destabilized.
Yeah, because on day one of this war, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was assassinated.
Which shattered the established chain of command instantly.
Completely, and his son, Mojtaba, who was the designated successor, survived the bombing but was severely injured.
Right.
The intelligence details that he's actually missing a leg, has severe burns, and is essentially hiding in undisclosed locations right now.
And the technological paranoia happening there is just fascinating.
How so?
Well, Mojtaba is completely avoiding digital communication. Iranian leadership is terrified of United States and Israeli intelligence tracking his electronic footprint.
Oh, so they're staying completely offline.
Exactly. He is communicating through handwritten notes.
Wow.
Yeah, they're passed along this analog human chain of couriers using cars and motorcycles.
So because the intended supreme leader is physically incapacitated and hiding off the grid, the generals of the Revolutionary Guard have basically stepped into the vacuum.
Yeah, they're practically running the country now.
Dictating the war strategy and unilaterally shutting down peace negotiations. You have an entire nation's military apparatus being run by generals passing paper notes on motorcycles.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But then you contrast that analog reality with how the United States is operating.
Right, complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
It is arguably the most advanced technological layer of conflict in human history.
Yeah.
The United States military isn't relying on human couriers. They are relying heavily on artificial intelligence software created by Palantir.
Specifically a system known as Maven, right?
Yes, Maven.
Palantir's CEO recently boasted that this technology allows the United States to be, quote, totally dominating on the battlefield.
Totally dominating.
But let's clarify what this actually does, because, I mean, it's not some magical crystal ball.
No, it's more like a high-frequency trading algorithm.
Right.
But instead of buying and selling stocks based on micro-fluctuations in the market,
Right.
it is directing military strikes based on pixel shifts in satellite imagery.
It is terrifying.
It really is. Maven ingests just unimaginable amounts of raw data.
Like what kind of data?
Drone feeds, intercepted radio communications, thermal imaging, massive logistical databases, and it cross-references all of it in literal milliseconds.
Just to identify military targets in Iran.
Yes. And it can even coordinate and operate drone swarms autonomously to engage those targets.
Hold on, though. You're telling me this AI gives commanders a mathematical confidence score on a target in milliseconds.
Exactly.
But war is absolute chaos. How can an algorithm account for, say, a civilian suddenly walking into a blast radius the very last second?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
If the entire point of this system is speed and scale, are we stripping away the human judgment required to prevent horrific mistakes?
That is the defining ethical and operational anxiety of algorithmic warfare right there.
Right.
Officially, the software is designed to keep a human in the loop.
Okay, so a human still pulls the trigger.
Supposedly. A human operator still has to authorize the final strike, but imagine you are a commander staring at a screen.
Okay.
The algorithm feeds you a targeting solution and basically tells you there's a 99.9% probability that this building holds enemy munitions.
And you have, what, seconds to decide?
Exactly. The psychological pressure to simply trust the machine, especially when you're under fire or under tight time constraints, is just immense.
They're not going to second-guess the supercomputer.
Right. It creates an environment where the speed of algorithmic war inherently outpaces the speed of human moral deliberation.
Wow. So the military is trusting these complex algorithms to execute the war.
Yeah.
But I think the most surreal detail in this entire stack of intelligence is what happens when the soldiers executing these operations decide to use their classified knowledge to play the crypto markets?
Oh, this part is just unbelievable.
We are talking about the complete casinification of geopolitics.
This is where the lines between national security and decentralized finance completely disintegrate.
Yeah.
The intelligence details the case of a United States Special Forces Master Sergeant, Gannon Ken Van Dyke.
Okay.
He was an active duty soldier directly involved in a highly classified mission dubbed Operation Absolute Resolution.
And this was the covert operation aimed at the capture of the Venezuelan leader, Nicolás Maduro, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because of his clearance and his specific role, Van Dyke had access to the exact operational timeline way before it was ever made public.
Which is incredibly sensitive.
Highly classified. And allegedly, he took that classified military intelligence, logged on to Polymarket.
Which is a decentralized, crypto-based prediction platform for those who don't know.
Right. And he placed $33,000 in bets that Maduro would be ousted by a specific date.
He literally bet on the success of his own covert operation.
He did!
That is insane.
And when Operation Absolute Resolution was successfully executed and the news finally hit the global press, his prediction contracts paid out massively.
I bet they did.
He walked away with a profit of over $400,000.
400 grand.
Yeah. That is a return of over 1,200% in a matter of days, just by leveraging the United States military apparatus for personal financial gain.
Wow. Well, the Department of Justice obviously did not let this slide.
No, definitely not.
They arrested him, and they're charging him with wire fraud and the illegal use of confidential government information.
Right.
And analysts believe this is actually the first ever insider trading indictment directly linked to a crypto prediction market.
First of many, probably.
Probably. I mean, the optics are so genuinely dystopian that the United States president addressed it publicly.
Yeah, stating that, quote, the whole world, unfortunately, has become somewhat of a casino. And that isn't just a metaphor anymore.
No, it's literal.
To really understand the systemic risk here, you have to look at the sheer scale of what is happening in the Web3 era.
Right.
These prediction markets, they're no longer niche experimental platforms just for crypto enthusiasts.
Not at all.
They are currently processing $20 billion a month in trading volume.
20 billion a month.
Think about the implications of that volume. It means real-world geopolitical conflicts, the movements of troops, and highly classified national security operations.
They've all been transformed into tradable financial assets.
Exactly.
It creates a massive moral hazard.
Oh, huge.
Like, if a military insider knows a rescue operation is underfunded and going to fail, they can just short the market.
Yeah.
If a diplomat knows a peace treaty is going to be signed tomorrow, they can buy shares and become a millionaire overnight.
It fundamentally changes the incentive structures of global power.
It really does.
We have always known that wars are profitable for, defense contractors and massive corporations.
Sure, the military-industrial complex.
Right. But prediction markets democratize that war profiteering down to the individual soldier or the low-level intelligence analyst.
Which is terrifying.
When the theater of war merges with the trading floor, the risk profile of national security becomes entirely unpredictable.
Yeah. So let's just step back for a second and look at this massive tangled web we've unpacked for you today.
It's a lot.
It is. We started with the harsh physical reality of a naval blockade in the Middle East. Thousands of United States troops and warships choking off 20% of the world's oil.
Which instantly causes real-world pain.
Exactly, paralyzing commercial truckers in Bolivia and threatening the livelihoods of fishermen in Peru.
Right.
Then we explored how that physical friction sent massive shockwaves into the global financial system,
Driving terrified capital into the United States dollar.
and forcing Bitcoin into a stalled inverse correlation.
Yep.
We pulled back the curtain on a shadow war where Iranian generals use handwritten notes to evade detection, while the United States relies on hyperfast AI algorithms to direct drone strikes.
The contrast is just amazing.
And finally, we landed in the surreal new reality of active-duty soldiers committing insider trading on their own classified missions using decentralized crypto casinos.
It basically proves that the traditional boundaries we used to rely on are just gone.
Completely erased.
The silos separating military strategy, macroeconomic policy, and decentralized finance, they don't exist anymore.
Everything is connected.
A shift in one instantly reroutes all the others.
Which leaves us with a final, rather provocative thought for you to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
If global conflicts are now fully financialized on $20 billion prediction platforms, and if the targeting and execution of those conflicts are increasingly being directed by hyperfast, dominating AI algorithms,
Right.
are we moving toward a future where wars are not just fought for territory or ideology, but are actually algorithmically optimized for market returns?
Well, if the speed of war outpaces human judgment and the financial incentives perfectly align with the algorithms, it is a reality we have to seriously consider.
Thank you for joining us on Black Token. You can support this project via PayPal or through cryptocurrencies. You can find the links and addresses in the description. Share our podcast with your friends. Goodbye.